Welcome to Maker Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from NIGHTCARVER Designs, and today on the show, I have Kendra's Got Wood. Kendra is one of the first people, I gotta say, that I followed in this maker community. I really admire the way she paints. I think she has her own unique look. You'll hear her tell me that I have mine as well, but hers is just so clean and pristine. I just absolutely love the way she does what she does, and she's very innovative with the way she fits in her laser work with her sign. So I really admire what she does. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I want to highlight that we are working on a contest or a challenge that is happening next month. So it starts on December 1st, and that is with Maker Challenge Central. So if you're not already following their newsletter, go ahead and sign up for that. Sabretooth is the sponsor of not only this podcast, but also that contest as well. And if you sign up for their newsletter, it's a great way to get notified for when it starts. Now, I'm really pumped because the whole challenge is going to be based upon something that I absolutely love. And I think people could really find a cool way to fit that into their work. So again, stay tuned for that. And a huge thank you to the sponsor of the show, Sabretooth. You can use NIGHTCARVER 10 in all caps to save 10% on your order.
I was trying to stalk you, but I haven't got to the bottom yet. You've been making forever.
It probably goes for a really long time.
I'm like, when will I hit the bottom? Well, I looked at it. My husband was down here like right before we popped on, because we had bought our kids Chromebooks for Christmas and forgot what we named the password and haven't been able to get into them since then. So I finally
my God.
At 7:00, I'm like, I am gonna get in these computers today. And I did, but it took us to like right before I popped on. I was like, So now the kids can finally use their, Chromebooks now.
I feel like I've been in like password hell lately because I'm like, they're getting like more and more strict about it.
Oh my God.
I am like, I feel old. I'm like writing them down in a physical spot, and I have to go to my like bookmarked page. I'm like grandma. I'm like my grandma who can't remember her passwords now. And I'm like trying all my different combinations, which is all like the same version of like,
right,
or some
exactly.
version of the same thing that it's been for the last however many
Did I put
years.
A dot here or a dash here to make
literally.
it different?
Like, was
what
that a
did
dollar
I do?
sign?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what was I doing this week?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, that's me. How was your day today?
Oh, good. I feel like I was kind of doing the same thing. I was like, oh my God, I got 3 minutes. like hurrying to get in here.
It's how it is though. When you run your own business, you're constantly doing stuff, and then you try to make time for whatever family life you might have, so it's a balance.
Literally.
Who's our furry visitor behind you?
Oh, I got 2 cats out here with me, so I hope they don't cause.
No, they're fine. I love the ruckus.
Raymond and Snaggle both. And I've been doing some rearranging, and like lately they're just like, this is their hangout now. They're like, oh, this is great. Like, I know. It's my area, not yours.
It looks awesome. What are you working out of?
My garage. The same area I've been working out of pretty much this whole time, but just recently I just went through like a whole reorganization because I can't take it anymore, and like and I have to make room for some new things, which is pretty exciting. So
new toys.
Yeah, so I figured this would actually be a great opportunity to like spill the beans. I'm expecting a Onefinity coming pretty soon, so it kind of just inspired like a whole like reorganization, because I was like, well, it can't fit, like it can't, and I was like, but we're gonna make it fit. So
what size are you
just started like cleaning?
Because that matters for how much room you need, because that Elite is big.
By 36, I think, is the size that I'm getting. Is that
maybe
right?
It's 32 by 32, but overall it's
32.
Yeah, that's the cutting area. But
well, I bought the table that Leah Parker Place just got. She kind of like talked me through some things, and I bought the same setup that she like table. I ordered the same one she got because I really liked how it looked. So
Yeah.
I know like kind of how much area table wise I'm working with. Machine wise, I've done like the bare minimum of research. So I'm like, I'm gonna buy this table, and Ben was like, this is what Leah got. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I'm excited. So I'm planning for that kind of spatial area.
That's awesome.
So it should be cool.
2015. I finally got to the end. August
Oh my
21st.
gosh.
And it was
So
a
funny.
skull with some feathers. And is it painted? Yeah, it's painted on a piece of wood.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've been doing it forever.
Nice.
I love it. And I'm assuming you've been doing it before that too. That was probably just when you started your
Instagram.
Yeah. No, that's great. I have had a Onefinity for I think almost 4 years now, and I love it.
Oh wow.
I really love it. It's so good.
Well, I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous, but I feel like I'm ready. Like I can do this. I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, no, it totally is scary when you're like, for me, the laser is still something that's so foreign. Like I'm still like, what settings do I need to use? Like that's just my annoyance. I just wish everything was just like readily available at your hands. Like, oh, just do this and then you go. But no, it's a lot of figuring things out.
That's what I keep telling myself. I'm like, I thought the laser was going to be like way scarier than it ended up being. And I'm like, if I could do the laser, I'm like, I got this. I know I got this. But I see so many people like get them and they talk about getting them. And I'm like, why aren't you posting that thing? Like you're using it, right? So I'm like, not going to be that person. We're going to set this thing up. We're going to figure it out and I'm going to learn it.
Yeah.
So.
No, I get that. It's really tough. Like trying to learn a new tool and like if you're afraid for it. So I've had this laser for since April, I think it was 2022. And I've used it for maybe like 8 hours. Maybe.
Really?
Maybe 10 or 12. Let's get creative. Under 20.
What kind of laser do you have? I can't tell.
It's a Boss laser.
Oh, okay.
It's a 70
so
watt.
You got a nice one.
I did. I bought a nice one, but I haven't had I took I quit my job and then I was home with the kids and they were just talking and problems. And I just kept getting annoyed with it. I just like, you know what? I don't have time to learn this. But recently I've pitched myself to make content for Boss and that's going to force me to actually learn it. So I have for me, I'm putting the pressure on so I can actually learn it.
Yeah. If anybody can do it, it's you, because aren't you like a graphic designer?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I feel like you got this.
I do. I just haven't put the time in. That's the thing.
You'll be a natural.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the encouragement because I need to get up in there.
Yeah. I feel like part of the problem is you get kind of set in your ways with certain programs. I kind of feel like so each different program is like a learning curve because you want them to all function the same way.
Yeah.
So but you can always just, drop things in and, I mean, the settings, that's always a curveball, but
yeah. Setting,
I feel like I'm always using the same materials now. So
what do you primarily use?
Have them, for my signs, I usually use Baltic birch. So I know what cuts and how it engraves and everything, but engrave wise, I like to use the different hardwoods. And sometimes that does take some playing around and testing with.
Got you. And what kind of, not to get your machine specs, but what's your wattage on your laser?
It's 100 watt. It's
okay.
Just it's like some Chinese laser. It's not any of the cool brands.
That's all right.
It gets the job
strong
done.
And mighty.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So how long have you been creating? It feels like it's something that is a childhood thing for me. I don't know. I feel like that's where it started.
Yeah, I definitely was always an artist. I was always the one drawing in school and stuff like that, growing up. And then, I mean, I kind of feel like after high school and stuff, I should have, I mean, I don't like to say shoulda, coulda, woulda, because who knows where I'd be now, I'm happy that it ended up this way. But I felt like I was never going to have a career in art, when you in high school and you're like, what am I going to do with my life? It was the only thing I was ever good at, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So kind of stopped. Then I did an online art school thing, and then Went to community college. Like I tried so many different things, and then just kind of started painting again for fun, and just led me here basically.
That's awesome though. So you did kind of pursue it though. You said you did some online schooling and then you went to community college. Did you not like the
Well, first I did
environment?
the community college thing, and I did take art classes there, and I was like, well, I'll just start getting an associate's degree and then we'll transfer. And then I hated community college. Like I would take art classes and there was probably like 3 people in the class that actually like were taking it because they enjoyed art, and like everybody else was just like, this is just going to be like an easy credit or whatever,
Right.
and did not care. Like,
Got you.
so it wasn't very much fun when like nobody else cared. I almost like felt bad for
The teacher, like
the teacher. Yeah, like
all these
nobody
uninspired
cared.
kids.
It was so easy to get an A because it was like it. I liked it, you know. Everybody else was like did not care. So then I like just hated community college. So I did try an online art school, and I went for a long time, and it was a lot of work and everything, but it was just very expensive. And it was like, I was trying to like figure it out. And it was like, even if I go full time, I'm not going to have a degree until I'm like, probably maybe now. Like,
Yeah.
and so, ended up like not going through with that. And then just randomly started making like palette signs one day. And then, yeah,
I love
slowly
that
but
though.
surely got to here.
You found your way eventually, you know.
Yeah,
That's cool.
pretty much.
I went to it's Westfield State. It's like a local state college. And it was cool though, because like a lot of people from Boston went there too. And they had a graphic design program, but that couldn't be your major. You had to minor in it. So I have a degree in fine art too. So I got
Okay.
to play with every medium. So like for me, college was
Yeah,
like
that's
the best.
awesome.
I'm like, I'm just gonna go hang
Yeah.
out with some people and chill and talk and listen to some music, and we're gonna make art for like half the day, and then I'll just go to a few other classes, you know, like
Yeah, see, that's the path I probably should have gone down, but you know, we got somewhere. So.
no, exactly. That's cool. So you went from like palette signs, and then I assumed like you started selling them to like friends and family, and it kind of like grew from there.
Pretty much. It's like the stereotypical story.
No,
Like I
but
bought
that's cool.
I went the silhouette cameo route, not Cricut though. So it's not as
Against the grain.
basic. Yeah. Yeah. So got the vinyl cutter, did that whole thing. And then like now for no amount of money would I plug in that vinyl cutter like ever. I can't even the thought of making like a stencil is just like absolutely not. And then yeah, I guess the scroll saw was big thing for me for a long time, like probably the center of my business. Went down the epoxy road for a really long time too. Like
I
that
saw
was
that.
actually
Yeah. I was like, I don't remember the epoxy phase because you've kind of
I
like
went through a
left
really
that.
big epoxy phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
For
me,
a long
like
time. So
it's just something that you have to have a clean room in, and you have to
that's
like,
exactly it. It's
you
the
know,
it's the
it's like
mess.
I'm just like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
clean like that. Like I have this area, but that's not a big enough area to like do like this
Yeah.
nice big epoxy pour. Like this is a very small room.
What's so funny is right now I've been like moving stuff into my basement as I'm trying to make room in the garage. And at one point I tried to set up like an area down there for epoxy. And I'm like, we'll do epoxy in the basement, woodworking in the garage. But I really hate being in my basement because it's like dark and it's not finished. It's just an
So you
unfinished
got to
basement,
remodel the basement
mostly
first.
storage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I tried to set up a table, and then I tried to use like various bad lighting basically, and it was like there's never enough lighting. So I still currently have a mess of a table in the basement basically with epoxy stuff all over it.
To
Just and
me,
I
it
never
sounds like amazing future potential. Like once you just like dedicate 3 days, like for 3 days, I'm just going to work on the basement and make something happen in there. Cause that's what I did for this room. I literally just took 3 days off of work, and I was like, I'm going to fix up this nasty ass room. There was a closet over here in this corner, and it had like a window that had like a plant growing in from the outside there.
Oh my God.
Like, it was such a gross room. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to happen. And I made it like, I was exhausted. I was done, but now I have like a cool place to hang out. Cause it was a dark, it had that, it has all wood paneling. So it was like real brown in here, and I hate brown. So
yeah. Me
Now it's
too.
a happy
Well,
place.
that's what like the garage was for me. Like at one point, I think it's been just over 2 years now, where we had to like gut the whole garage for renovation type stuff. And I was like, this is the opportunity. Like we
Yeah, it looks
refinished
great.
everything and like, thank you. I'm proud of it. And so it's been over 2 years now. Now I'm again just finished like some reorganizing and stuff. Just, the way it piles up, like the wood it gets out of control and
Oh
just stuff
yeah.
like that. And I'm like, why is this? I could just go store this in the basement. I'm not using it right now. Like, I know it's down there. If, the project comes along, just put it in the basement. So where my wood goes to die, basically. But, I know it's there. So it'll have a life someday.
I'm sure a lot of makers listening to this right now are all thinking about their little pile of junk that they've had to store away because they can't use it right now. Or, I gave my father-in-law a bandsaw and a drill press because I'm like, I just can't. I can't walk around my garage right now because I'm running into these things. And now I think I want the bandsaw back. But besides
That's
that, I
so funny
needed the
because
room.
I was listening to your podcast with Leah today. I was like, I should probably listen to like get ready,
Yeah.
And so I listened to the one with Leah and you were talking about that in that episode. And I was like, oh my God, this is so funny because I'm like doing all of like the reorganizing.
Yes.
I'm like, like the 21-inch scroll saw might have to go into the basement and I feel bad, but like
if you're not using
I'm not ready
it,
to like let it go yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those kind of things are cool to have if you're traveling and doing shows and stuff, and you could bring the smaller scroll saw, the one that you don't use all the time. So if something happens to it, it's like, I'm starting to get in that mode now because I don't know if it's happening to you, but like the longer we're in this making world, you end up starting to teach, and I'm starting to be a traveling teacher now. So I'm like, I gotta get on that.
Like if anybody wants, come and try it out, I've got two. Or I like to have it for the Bare Woods content too. I like to have both sizes to show the difference and stuff like that. And I do like to have it, I'm not like a little attached to it maybe, but like I do like having both. But I'm like, you might be in the spot I need.
I mean, that's a big footprint though. Plus the stands usually flare out and stuff. So that's even more space that's taken up. Believe me, I have mine so jam-packed right now. I actually just so Craig, you know how they make those blue works tables? I have it for my CNC and I have it for my workbench, and I'm just getting 2 more for my other workbenches that I built because they're so I'm an artist, not a builder. And they're so jacked up.
Me too. I feel
I'm wheeling them and they're like, I can feel it like about to bust. And I'm like, it's time. So I have 2 new Craig tables coming. I'm very excited about that. And
those are nice. I see a lot of people sharing them right now.
They're great. Like I've always bought mine. I haven't got them for free, but they are sending them to me this time for free. Cause like, thank you.
That's exciting.
Thank you. I'm like,
yeah, you know what? Tough. No offense to Craig to Craig, but I actually went with the one that Leah picked out because it's black. Hers looked really, really sharp.
I really love hers. I love hers a lot too. And I would rather have black.
But I mean, if Craig ever wanted to send me any of their tables, it'll match my laser. But I was like, the
black is slick.
Feeling very grateful that I'm getting the CNC, so I'm willing to make the investment into the table. So
yeah, I mean, I bought mine too because it was like my easiest choice. Like I said, I'm not a builder. I just want to assemble something and then boop, and then it's good and then let's go.
Well, that's what when I was talking to Leah about it, she's like, I can't decide if I should buy the table. Like, I'm looking at this one. Maybe I should just build something. I'm like, I would just buy the table because like I don't have time to build something.
Exactly.
So time consuming.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm doing for them. I'm making an infomercial that's talking about that exact same subject that you just said. I'm just
that's an amazing idea. I love this.
That's what I pitched them. I sent them, I don't know if you've seen the one I did for Oneida, where I was like, dust control is one of the hardest things to do in a shop. Nobody wants to empty your vacuum. And then like, I show you like emptying a dust, like
stumbling and the dust going like everywhere.
I stumbled, I had it whoosh, and then I also did a scene of like when I was power carving, and I was like, power carving is messy. And I was like, shh. And I had my
blowing
husband
in your face. Yeah.
I literally had my husband take his hand and just throw sawdust at my face. He loved it.
Brilliant. I love this.
It was hilarious. I'll have to send you the link to it. But yeah, I'll be doing that
but
for
wait,
Craig.
there's more.
I know I did. That's why. Well, this one I'm gonna do a but wait, there's more. That one didn't have it, but it was very like, don't fret.
I know.
Like super cheesy.
I always think about doing that too. Like, but wait, I did like a video for Bear Woods one time. They did this like when the Pegasus was just like on back order for like ever. They did this like worth the wait thing, and I was like, talking about how it was like worth the wait, and I was like, but wait, there's more. Like,
you have to.
right,
it's fun.
like superior.
We're raised in that TV era where those kind of commercials were on
exactly
all the time. So that's what I think is so funny. It's the same week I did that. I don't know if you know Ethan Carter Designs, but he also did an infomercial style with the black and white and stuff. And I was like, oh, we are on the same path. Like it's a certain, I don't know how old you are. I'm 41. So like it's that age group that like you grew up watching that stuff, and it just
I'm 33, so I mean definitely within that era.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, I need to now you're giving me ideas too. I got to start working something like this in my content.
Got to start getting gimmicky
to create more humorous stuff. Yeah.
You know, I love that stuff, but like and I'm sure you're this way. You're filming, you're working, and you just want to get on to the next thing, and like to stop and do something that's goofy or acting for a minute, even though it doesn't take that long. It really is like you have to like stop yourself. And that is
and
so
you really
hard.
got to be in like the right state of mind. When I was, because all I've been doing lately is cleaning, basically. Like and this is my busiest time of year too. So I'm really like, I'm a little stressed because usually right now I am just like trying to bust out as much Halloween signage as possible. And so like my like sign making job wise, I'm making like $0 right now. So I'm a little bit panicky because I'm not really like making any money. I'm like very excited I'm getting these tools and stuff, but I'm like, this is an investment. It's an investment. You know, I have to like keep repeating that to myself. And I was like, well, I have like no content either. So I'm like not making anything. I don't have anything to post really. I'm like, I could be making content of cleaning, but I'm like just in the zone. I'm like, and I'm dirty and I'm gross and I've got like dirt on my face and I'm like sweating. It was like so hot when I first started. It was probably like, it was like 95 degrees the first day that I decided to just like rip everything out. And I'm like so nasty. I'm like, I wish I would have taken a before video or picture. Nope. Didn't even, once you get into that state of mind, you were like, nothing stopping you. Like, don't even look at your phone. Just like keep going. And it was like, at one point I tried to film myself putting up these shelves and I like stripped the screw and I'm like, I just deleted the video. I'm like, we're not doing it. This is no content. Oh, well.
We've all been there.
It is what it is. Like, I gotta get it done. That's it.
To me, like if I have to take a content break because I have other things going on and I don't have any obligations, I will do it because sometimes you just need to. It is so stressful. Or I'll just start reposting my old stuff.
Yeah, well,
living
I
in
just
the
don't
old
have
days.
the energy. At the end of the day, I'm like, all right, I can probably come up with something, you know, or I can keep posting this pumpkin that I made for the challenge.
It's a beautiful pumpkin.
I'm laying in bed and I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, I can't edit anything right now. I'm just like going to sleep.
You need a content break. It's an important thing to do.
You really do. And I was like talking about it on my stories and somebody responds and they're like, you know, like we'll still be here. Like you can take breaks and stuff. And I'm like, but I'm making $0 an hour to clean my garage. Like, like I got to get back to work.
Yeah.
If I don't post the things, nobody's going to buy them. But I'm like, that's like, it's an investment. That's what I just keep telling myself.
It is.
Like, you gotta take the time to do it otherwise. And I didn't want to go into the holidays feeling disheveled, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like that time of year where this is a good way to start off the seasons. So
I know it is tough though. It is in your Halloween season, which I totally get that stress of wanting to make the stuff so you can get the money. Like you do have
people are asking for like ghost
or
signs and I'm like, I want to make the ghost signs. I do.
It's tough. How are the kids doing that you started doing? Are those selling, or is that's kind of hard to advertise too right now?
You know, that's a good question because it's through We See and See That.
Yeah.
So he did update me that some have sold and stuff, but I don't I don't have like regular updates. So actually,
That's true. I
that's a
didn't ask
great
them
question. I
about
haven't heard
that.
from them since last week. So I hope so. But yeah, I need to finish a couple more of those too. I started on them before my cleaning endeavors, and then I haven't gone back to them. So actually, tomorrow I'm hoping to get back to work on those. So
I'm going to be working with them too on some stuff that I was doing on the laser, and I learned that I don't like cutting acrylic in my house because it just smells terrible. And I'm like, I don't want to smell that anymore. So I asked them if they could cut acrylic and like it's like a dual color, and they can. So I'm going to be using them to do that, and that way at least it gets out there. And because I was going to give up on this project, I was like, it smells so bad. And I cannot deal. I'm right under my son's room, so I'd hate to be like having horrible acrylic smells float up there, you know?
Yeah. I think you can invest like in an expensive air purifier thing.
I know. They told me it's no good for acrylic though. They said it works great.
Oh, really?
They're like, it'll numb it down, but it won't eliminate it. They're like, what you should probably do is get like a really high power vacuum, like, suction, so it pulls it out faster.
Oh, yeah.
That
makes
so I was
sense. Because I've noticed some acrylic smells worse than others too, but I just like filter out my garage. So
it's this it's a 2-color duet stuff, and you're just cutting off the top layer of the black, but it smells terrible.
Yeah, I've actually been wanting to play with some of that stuff because I saw somebody else using that. I'm like, oh, that looks really cool for engraves.
Yeah, Sam used it, I know, recently on Uncharted Customs with it. But yeah, it does do a gorgeous job. I just don't like working with the material. Like,
yeah,
to me,
that's how I am with stamps. People ask me for stamps a lot, and I like to do stamps every once in a while for fun, but it gets really stinky too, and it drives me crazy. I actually found some great stamp material that looked beautiful, and I could not use it because I sat with like my mask on, and my hood on because it was making my hair smell. It was so stinky, and I was like, this looks great and it works great, stamps great. I will never buy it again because it's like the stinkiest stuff I've ever used. And
things that you don't think about when you're using a laser, right? It's like, this would be great.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, I'm working in my basement with a laser. So like I'm in the house, and it's not like I'm in the garage where it's just venting outside and I can completely open up the whole garage and let it air out. It's like, no, I have one window that a vent is going out, and that's it.
Luckily I am in the garage, and I'm like turning on the air filter and just like, oh God, I felt like I could smell it for days,
Yeah, it's awful. But I love how you incorporate like the laser work with your work. Like, I feel like you're one of the first people that were like shaping stuff off of the laser, giving it dimension instead of just leaving all these ugly flat pieces that are built on top of each other, like you're somebody who actually puts in the work, and you could tell that you're an artist on your stuff.
That's why I get so offended when people are like, oh, the laser's cheating. I'm like, I drew this design. I drew it. I made this. All the laser did was cut it out. Like, yes, I could have cut it on the scroll saw. It would have taken me longer. And then I shaped it. I hand painted it. I did all this stuff. Like, you're not going to tell me that this is not art, because I did everything but physically cut it out by hand.
I was going to say the laser only eliminates one step. Now, some people though don't even sand the stuff that comes off the laser, and they just go for it. And that's the kind of people they should be talking to. But when you transform it, you know what I mean? Like, you're completely changing that material and making it look totally different. And then you paint it, and you actually paint it. You're not spray painting it. And that's not an offense to anybody who's using spray paint. It's just fun to see other people hand painting things,
Yeah. Not a lot of people enjoy it. And I actually like to do it. I feel like you really have to like it in order to want to be good at it.
No, 100%. Like, it stands out. And I'm somebody who appreciates that because I do the same thing, So it's like, it's fun seeing somebody who can just like dive into it. You could tell it's like your happy place. You're just sitting there building your shading in, you know what I mean? Like,
I wish I would paint like all the time if I could, actually. Like, if it wasn't such a time consuming thing, if it was business wise, if I could, I would hand paint everything,
Oh yeah, no, it does. It takes forever. It's not quick. Like, spray paint is definitely going to get you faster and like ahead of the game. It's coated, you're good, move on.
But hand painting dries a whole lot faster than the spray paint does. So
it smells better too.
Yeah,
We're going
definitely.
to harp on smells today. Definitely smells a lot
Right.
better.
Yeah,
That's
for
awesome.
sure.
So what what kind of inspires your art? Because I know like you have ducks, right? Or you've had ducks in the past. Is that kind of like what
Yeah.
started off like the themes?
Kind of. I've had ducks for 6 years now, and then we have goats. We've had goats, I think, for 8 years.
Oh wow.
So sometimes, yeah, the farm stuff inspires it, or I mean, I like to do like the holiday themed stuff. Obviously, I love Halloween.
I know. That's why
Um,
we bonded.
it's so funny because I don't want to say I hate Christmas. I don't really like Christmas, and I don't like winter, but I do like to make Christmas decor. Like it is fun. It's like a popular holiday, and I do like to make Santas and snowmen, even though like the thought of it actually it's like dreadful. I don't want it to get cold at all. I'm not ready. But so just holidays are fun just because people like to buy that stuff
I was gonna
too.
say
And
they're purchasable. You know, people want to buy those as gifts.
mhm,
Like that's the
yeah,
nice part,
and
or decor for their home.
I would love to get like really, really creative with it. Like I wish people wanted to buy super, super expensive Christmas and Easter decor and or how well obviously in Halloween.
What would
But
you do? Like what is something that you really want to make?
well, I always have I mean, I already feel like I'm kind of like pushing my limits as far as like costs and stuff go, but I just like to get, like lots of details. I would love to just do all of the shaping, carving, hand painting, super fancy frames and stuff, and like
Mm-hmm.
it gets to a point where I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to like cut some corners, otherwise nobody's gonna buy this from me because like
So tough. You
but
have
you can
people.
pass this down. This will live in your
Yeah,
family forever. Like
yeah, exactly.
the fanciest Santa sign you'll ever own.
This is
you know,
timeless. Yeah, no, but seriously,
exactly.
it is
Yeah.
tough too. Yeah, when you're doing that kind of decor, like there's a certain
Hmm.
market of people that are into that. And then
Yeah.
if you don't know how to get to that market, it's really hard. Like you'd have to have
Yeah.
like a page just dedicated to Christmas stuff all year round, I swear. Because those are the
Right.
you got to get those Christmas fanatics.
Well, exactly. And people will give me a hard time when I start Halloween super early. I'm like, but if I don't start now, like it's never gonna get done in time. So it's like it's never early enough either, too.
Well, we started the contest August 1st, right? For the Halloween stuff. For the first
Mhm.
2 days, everyone was like, Halloween already. What are you doing? Oh my God. I'm like, I feel like we're late
Then it
on a
will be done
game.
by September, which is
Yes.
right in the
Yeah.
spooky season. So I
It's
feel like you timed
prime
that
time.
perfectly.
Thank you. Thank you. I would
Yeah.
say it's prime time for it. I feel like it was tough for people though, because it was summer still too. So it
Hmm.
was like the end of summer to do a project. It's like, oh no. But
Yeah.
people
See,
went
I
for
have
it.
no issues starting the Halloween stuff early at all. I always feel like I'm stressed by July. I'm like, I gotta start Halloween, otherwise it's not gonna be early enough. And so this year I tried to start earlier and I was like looking back at my content from like this time last year and I was like, oh, I was busting out so many things. Like I was like really killing it at one point last year. My content was doing really well. And this year I'm like putzing around my garage, like cleaning and staring at my walls, like, oh, if I move that over there, then this could go
I was gonna
here.
say
And like,
there's like ebbs and flows to things though. Like I feel like you probably just really do need a break from all of that. And you're
yeah.
spending the time with I think is valuable. Like rearranging your
Hmm.
shop and doing what you're doing is just gonna make your content so much better because it's gonna be so much more visual if everything looks really
Right.
pretty and organized in the back. Like
Yeah.
that's something I noticed about your art. I was showing my husband. I was like, she has the cleanest lines. Like everything is just so
Thanks.
beautiful and meticulous. Like to the point of OCD because it's just so beautifully perfect. Like I love that though, because I'm not like that. So to see it,
But
it's like,
you have like a style though that I love. Like I feel like you
oh,
have like
thank
this
you.
cool like you're definitely one of those people where you look at it and you immediately know like, oh, Tiff, that's Tiff. Like
Yeah. Oh, thank
you have
you.
like this really cool style. But
I like
one thing I've
black,
like
dark
learned,
lines.
yeah, I do too, actually. Like I
Yeah.
could go crazy with some black dark lines. Like
I've noticed
actually
that
I
in
remember
yourself. That's what's attractive to me.
in college, like when they were like, you don't outline that stuff. And I'm like, I love a good outline. Like
I've mentioned this on an episode a long time ago, but I did get that critique constantly. Tiffany, I love your stuff, but you got to stop with this black shading and these
you
dark
need to learn
outlines.
how to do it right before you're allowed to do it wrong, or whatever that quote is, where like you have to learn how to do it the right way so you can break the rules like an artist, or whatever the quote, however it goes, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I got the same speech. For sure. You're cheating. Yes, I used to get yelled at in painting class for that.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you're supposed to do these beautiful contrasting colors to create the hard edge without actually using the black, but it's just so much more fun and intense. Black. Yeah. Keep going more.
But I guess that's what you got to go through to like get to your style.
Yeah. I mean, for sure it helps like when you're in class and you're trying to learn how to shade things out, but I just love the black. I can't help it.
You can't go wrong.
I buy the big jugs of black. I don't go for these small little containers. I ain't messing around.
Right, exactly. Like black and white always.
Yeah, exactly. I need these in a large, please. That's cool. For sure. So what do you want to start creating on the CNC? Like, do you have different ideas for it already?
Oh, kind of. I mean, I actually had my friend Kyle cut some backers for me on his CNC. So like speaking of like the cheating thing, because actually it was for the Halloween signs that I plan to be busting out right now that are non-existent. But like shapes that I could make myself, but I would need to like make myself a template, probably with a laser, and then like scroll them out and then use like a flush trim, you know, like
to clean it all up. Yeah.
Or like I did like these like half circles, you know, and I'm like, I want it to be perfect, and I don't want to like, it's going to be so many steps for me to have to do this without a machine. And, you know, like people say that it's like cheating, but it's like, I don't want 6 tools just to make this. Like I want to cut my own backers. I never want to touch my circle jig again, honestly. I hope that I can get to the point where I never have to, because I actually own the router that you need for the Onefinity. And
the Makita.
It lives on my circle jig, and I don't want to take it off because nobody even likes to change router bits. Like, let's be honest, let alone take a router off of your little circle jig and do the screws and all that. So it's like my permanent circle jig router. I'm like, I'm taking this off the circle jig, and I hope I never have to put the router back on the circle jig.
Exactly.
So definitely backers, but I want to do like cool engraved things like epoxy fills, because right now I'll like use my laser to do epoxy fills, and it works, but since it's so dark, I can't, like lighter colors are hard, and I have to like base paint them, and I know I'll be able to get deeper on the CNC.
Is it super even when you're doing that too? Or like depending on what material you're using, is it a nice flat surface with the laser doing it? Or is it kind of jaggedy if you're using wood? Okay.
Well, the engraved does kind of have like a texture to it, but I mean, if you run it slow enough, it will be nice and deep, but the slower you run it, it's also going to be darker too.
Yeah.
So if, you know, with like walnut or something, if I put it in and do a nice deep engrave and fill it with some black epoxy, it'll look great.
Yeah, it looks sharp.
But white is really tricky because the engrave is just so dark, and then you start to kind of sand, you kind of see like the darkness around the edges and stuff. And I'm like such a perfectionist, so it like makes me
notice, see?
So just stuff like that. Like I want to be able to use it for that.
You're gonna love that.
I've seen people like do an epoxy pour and then
carve through it,
like pull it out, and then, you know, like do like another layer of epoxy so you can make it like do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. It's like the multi-layer like, epoxy inlays that people are doing. So they're carving like the colors at one time. So they'll carve everything that's going to be red, fill it, pour it,
let it cure, and then run another one.
Yes. Yeah, for the blue.
I want to do that kind of thing. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people do that, and I just followed a guy that I'm sure you probably saw, the Mario cutting board. That's all epoxy inlay. I don't know if you've seen it yet. I don't know his name. I literally just started following him today because it was just like really pretty. Because I don't ever do that. Again, I'm always like, my garage is so dirty, but that's one way I could do it. I could do it out there on the CNC because it's not in the house, and you know, just clean up the garage, do it. Do your cars, because I think that would be fun to do too, to have like an alternative looking thing. As much as I do love painting it, it is sometimes cool to see what you could make with layers and layers of epoxy. I get
so
that.
that's just something I want to try.
Ooh,
I don't know if it's something that I'll stick with, but it's definitely going to be on the things that I definitely try.
That's awesome.
So,
I can see that. It'll be a lot
yeah,
nicer
or like
too.
a cool carved out backer with like epoxy in it. It's like something over it. So I got all kinds of fun ideas. We'll see.
I love it. I can't wait to see how you intermingle everything together, because you can
Yeah.
do something that is on the CNC, on the laser, and on your scroll saw all in one piece and make like this crazy layered thing, like it's just nice
Combine
having.
all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you run now? You don't have the CNC yet, but will you be able to run the CNC and a laser at the same time? Or no, you think it'll be too much power?
I don't know. That's a great question. I was actually wondering the same thing. I'm like, I haven't even hardly thought about the power thing, because that's one of the things I was talking about Leah, and I was like, oh, I didn't think about the power part, because I'm like, I wonder what tools I can run at the same time. Like looking around my garage,
I was just gonna say, if you could imagine how productive you would be, like
right.
you could be doing,
Yeah.
you could be scrolling while those two things are doing something, like be
And then the circuit
magic.
breaker blows and like screws up all the projects. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
I definitely spent the money when I got the CNC on a whole breaker for the garage just for itself, because I was
We
blowing
do have one
circuits.
out here that the back half, or like the one side, actually the breaker's in the basement, and the other side is different. It's out here. So maybe if I plugged them in two different sides.
Yeah. No, seriously. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I actually know somebody who's an electrician, and I was like just saying, I'm like, maybe they'd be open for like trade. Like,
that's what I
maybe
did.
you need a sweet sign for a business. You could come over here and fix some stuff, or
I think I
make
made
sure
like
it's all running properly.
I did like 4 pieces, and like smaller pieces, and $500, and he did all the work for me. Like I was like, let's trade. Like, please.
I've heard a lot of people have been like, oh, I just traded with my electrician. I made him this business sign. I'm like, oh my God, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that?
Oh yeah, I would.
So
that way you can do all your stuff at once, because that would just be magical, right? To not have to worry about it and you just can go.
Right.
Then you'd have all your Halloween signs made in a couple days. Like, all right, now I just got to do all the shaping.
Right, exactly. Which is like the most time consuming part.
But it's so fun. I love obviously power carving. It's a passion.
Yeah. But it is the fun part, though, the shaping and the painting. It's definitely the fun part, the part that brings it to life.
And your hands are on it. Like the laser and the CNC for me, it's no joy. Like it's just cool to see it. Like, oh, look there, it's coming. Yay. But like then when you actually get to touch it and then you start manipulating it, like that's where the fun begins.
Right. And for me, when I'm designing, if I'm like sitting on a, like I do like to design and do the drawings and stuff, but I feel like I'm accomplishing nothing for whatever reason. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm like, if I'm sitting too still and I'm not like physically
moving.
It feels like it's like, I know this is like probably one of the most important steps, but like, how have I been sitting here drawing the same thing for 3 hours? I'm like, where did my day go? But I'm like, you got to do all the things, but I don't know why, if I'm looking at a screen, I feel so much less productive than when I'm physically doing something.
I really like that you said that, because I do feel that way too. Like I have a degree in design, as you mentioned, like I do love it. And I could spend all day designing, but then I'm like, oh my God, did I just waste the whole day? Even though you're planning stuff for the future,
even though you are doing stuff.
Yeah, you're moving the needle forward, but it's because you're not like physically making it yet. It's a tough thing. I have that same battle, so you're not alone. I would love to hear from other people if they find that too, like design days, like,
or even the business side of things. Even you're updating your website or something. Why do I not feel, even though after my website is like all updated, if it took me 2 days, I'm like, why do I not feel like I was productive? Like it doesn't give me that same thrill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. The screen side of things feels less productive, even though it all is.
I feel like that's why a lot of us battle having a day job, because you're stuck in that chair looking at a screen where you could be doing other stuff. Maybe kind of feels the same way. Before you I assume you went full time in this. Like, were you always kind of like doing things on the side? Were you working a day job before this? Like, How did that
I
transition
was a
happen for you?
waitress.
Okay.
So, I was a waitress for like 10 years or something ridiculous. I was like one of those people who was like way too comfortable at their job, basically.
Yeah, it became
Um,
routine.
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
like I mean, I didn't hate it. Well, I didn't hate it for a long time. Like I liked the people I worked with. It was like fun for a little while, you know, like it was always good money too. Like it was,
Yeah.
you know, it was good money and I would go to work and I'd go out after work with friends and stuff. And then like slowly as I transitioned into this, it was like I like did the Etsy thing, you know, and so I would be like at work, like uploading my stuff like onto Etsy, like in like the back corner, like
Yeah.
and it would, or on like the slow days, I would just be like, this sucks. Like I could be making way more money by not being here because
Yeah.
I have like better things to do. And then I actually ended up getting fired, which is funny because I worked at this place for so long. But like long story short, I had like a wedding to go to and I had had like a time off request up for like ever. And the person who had like covered my shift either quit or got fired or something. And I couldn't get the shift covered. And I like went to the wedding. And I was like,
damn, one
I,
chance, you're out.
yeah, after all of those years, they
Yeah.
were like, they pretty much like told me, like, you're gonna come to work today, right? And I was like, I told you I'm going to this wedding. I told you 2 months ago I was going to this wedding. So they ended up firing me and it was like the best thing that ever happened. I like went like, well, I gotta figure this out then because I'm not gonna work in another restaurant. Like this was
Yeah, you were
not
over it
gonna
by that
happen.
point. Like you
Oh
kind of
yeah.
already went through the chain.
I
Like you
I
knew
was
it.
like giving away shifts at that point. I hated being there. I was like any excuse to not go to work. My one manager would get like so mad at me because I was always giving like my Wednesday shift to like this guy who totally sucked, and she would get so mad at me. I'm like, I'm not making any money on Wednesdays. Like I make way more money if I don't have to work here. And so I just kind of like dove in, and then like the Bearwoods thing kind of fell into my lap, and now I'm like, I just got to keep hustling because I never want to work in a restaurant again, and I never finished that college thing, so got to see where this takes me. So
yeah, but you made your own path, which is really cool. Making stuff that you
yeah.
love too. Like it's not like, did you do customs at all, or was it always making stuff that you like?
Yeah, I went through like I pretty much relied on customs for a really
Okay.
long time, actually, especially after the waitressing thing. And then I took some time off when I redid my garage, and then I slowly kind of got back into them. And then I started doing like collections for a
Okay.
while. Like I did like floral collection, and I would do like website restocks. And now I'm just kind of like I would go back to doing some custom work, but I don't get quite as many requests anymore because I started kind of turning them away.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on the requests I get now and just more selective and stuff.
It's really hard to take on a custom unless it's going to be worthwhile now, because that's
Yeah,
time you're
exactly.
taking away from dedicating on making something new that you actually want to make that might sell way
Mhm.
better. Like I get that. Like it's tough.
And the the back and forth for me, like I don't really want to do it anymore. Like it's just if somebody wants to come to me and be like, "This is my budget. I trust your judgment. Would you do this?" I'd be like, "Heck yeah." But I don't want to send like 27 back and forth mock-ups and all that anymore. Like I'd rather just I like to make the things, but I don't want to go through that as much anymore. But I always tell myself, I'm like, well, if
It's
it ever
tough.
gets to the point where I have to, I'll do it again,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
But I
Yep.
like to do my thing if I can.
People have these big wishes for what $500 will get them too nowadays.
Yeah.
I had a lady message me the other day because she saw a sign that I made for a ceramic place in North Carolina. And she's like, "Oh, it's gorgeous. I saw you made this big cedar sign. It's like 36 inches big, circle, double carved." I'm like, "Yep, that was me. I'd love one of those. Like, what's your pricing on that? But I'd also like to add some color to it and this and that." And I was like, "You're looking at like 1,200 or more." And she's like, I'm
Yeah.
like, "Lady, the wood is like 400 after it's all milled and glued together and all
Right.
this stuff. Like, I'm not overcharging you, I promise." Like,
I actually am like the best person for people to like tell me their story. Like if my maker friends will tell me like, oh, this person just came to me like their budget's like $150. I'm like, this is what they want. I'm like, girl,
No.
the wood alone is going to be like half that budget. I'm like, I hope you just told them no. Like, don't even entertain this. Like, I love to talk about that kind of stuff. Like, my other maker friends will come to me and tell me their stories. I'm like, this is why I have stop taking customs. This is, I can't, like, I have been through it all.
It's so stressful.
Don't send the picture updates. Don't send anybody progress. Like, just wait till they see it when it's done, because like they're gonna think they don't like it. So, you know, like I've learned every lesson in the book, I feel like, at this point, and I'm like, oh no, you shouldn't have done that. Like,
well, I feel like a lot of us do start off as custom like sign makers, and then we burn out of that. Like after a few years, you can only last so long.
I'll see people posting stuff in like Facebook groups like about their customers, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I've had that happen before. Like, I'm sorry that happened, but you learned that lesson, didn't you?
It's tough though, because
through it.
It's when you make your own art, you have to make something that's going to sell too. Like there, you get kind of battle with that. So like you were saying, you really want to go fancier, but you're like, is there going to be clientele for that? Like, are people actually going to buy this, or am I going to dedicate 40 hours to a piece that's just going to sit in my house? You know?
Right. And it happens too.
Oh, 100%.
And sometimes I'm willing to like take a little bit less if it's something that I really want to make too.
Same.
You know, because like I like to hand paint, and you know, I'll spend longer hand painting than I probably like need to, and I'll focus on details that nobody else is gonna see. But you know, if I like it, it's a little bit different. But sometimes it's just like somebody wants something and it's like, you know, I'm sorry, but like you're
or you have old clients that come for your old prices, and you tell them the new prices, and you feel so bad, but you're like, it's not, I can't do that again.
Like, sometimes they're not very nice about it.
They're just like, really?
I've had some people be like really rude to me, and I'm like, well, this isn't gonna work out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because it's just, and the cost of things has just literally doubled. Like when I look at back at prices that I was paying, you know, 2 years ago, I'm like, the cans of spray paint were half the price, the wood was half the price. Like everything is basically doubled.
So crazy. Just I look at everyone's like posts about prices on paint, and like they're buying it together to get it cheaper wholesale, like because it's so crazy expensive.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who has now like started using the like the graffiti water-based spray paints and stuff. And I'm why would you buy, no offense to Rust-Oleum, but why are you buying the Rust-Oleum for $7 when you can buy the good stuff for $7.50? You know?
Wow.
Like just stock up and buy the good stuff, get the free, spend $100, get the free shipping, and order once every however long, you know, that gets you through. If you forget a color, it really sucks, because you can, like, it's gonna cost you to go back and order one or two cans. That's how it is
for these paints that I use. I use like specialty acrylic paints, and I'm always just like,
yeah, I can tell that you use like the good acrylics when you're posting your videos, because they go on so nicely with like one coat.
Sometimes
I'm like a cheapy acrylic user.
Well, I'll be honest, I got it for free because I pitched them, hey, I want to try this paint and I'll market it for you. I brought it to Maker Camp and I had people painting on the table, but my free supply is running out. And I did try to get it the other day for free, and I got denied again. I was like, no, you did it once, do it again. Please.
Right. Yeah.
Please. So now I'm trying to find another paint company who else makes high pigment acrylic paints.
That's a really good one. Hippie Crafter sent me theirs, and theirs is a little bit like shinier than I kind of prefer, but I just like spray it with matte. It's good. It's usable. They have a cute little kit. It's like, but I don't think you can get their colors individually, which is a little bit weird to me.
Yeah, if you can't buy it individually, that's weird.
Their kit is cool because it's got some like really pretty colors in it. Like they've got a really fun turquoise in there, and I really like their like mustardy yellow. So I'm like, I need more of my mustard.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm like scraping the mustardy yellow out. It's like my favorite. I don't know why, but I mean, yeah, I use it.
When you use expensive paints, you do get like real chinsy with it because you're like, how much do I pour out?
I pour too much out.
Oh no.
I think full price, this whole kit is only like $30, but I told you I'm like a cheapy acrylic user. I'll go to like the, craft Hobby Lobby or whatever and get the little 99 cent $2 bottles.
And I used to use that, and then I tried this stuff, and now I don't think I could ever go
once
back.
start using the quality.
Yes, I've done it to myself because I like to thin my paint out and let it absorb into the wood, and that's why I like painting on wood, because I love just like layering it, and then just like watching it get absorbed into the wood. You do the other paint like that, and it doesn't get absorbed as much. It just kind of just goes like.
Well, I will usually, now I've started, since I do like the cutout stuff, I will like prime it, and then sometimes I'll even use spray paint as a base coat because it gives you those nice like clean edges around the laser cut carved edges.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So it's hard to get those like really smooth looks without the primer sometimes. Or I know a lot of people like to use like go to Home Depot and get like the bare samples because it goes on nice and thick. But I like the acrylics because they're thin, so I can kind of get those layers in there, and it's just, I don't know, you kind of start to use what you just get used to it, like you get your ways, you get set in your ways, I guess. So
it's funny though, because if I try changing my painting style, my husband will like, it's not what you usually do. He'll like start criticizing me. I'm like, stop it. Like, I'm
trying something new.
Exactly. I'm being experimental here. Jeez. He's like, oh, all right. I liked how you paint though. I'm like, stop, go away. I don't want to hear your feedback today. How did you get into doing social media for Bare Woods? Like, what do you do for them exactly? Is it managing their page? Is that your primary role?
Mostly the Instagram. Yeah. Or I'll make like imagery, like their ads and stuff. Honestly, like it just kind of came, like Steven had actually, I think he messaged Cass, Stone Mill and Co. First, and he had kind of contacted like a handful of makers on Instagram. They had already had a pretty decent Facebook following.
The Facebook was ran by like a dude in one of my carving groups, I feel like, or maybe it was Steven. Who knows?
It might have been Steven, because carving was one of like their biggest things, I think, for a while. And then he had, I don't know, I think Steven just woke up one day and decided to make an Instagram and like started messaging some like random scroll saw females, basically.
Yeah.
It probably was just like seeing like, oh, this is what people are doing. There's a whole different world of scroll saw people on this app than there is over on Facebook. And it is a very different world, let me tell you.
Oh no, it's completely polar opposite. And the same thing for Sabretooth too, by the way. The Facebook people are completely different than Instagram people.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so he had talked to Cass, and then like Cass was like, oh, you should message Kendra. And then me and Cass kind of took over. Like, I don't even remember what happened. I think we just suggested it. Like, well, if you want somebody to run the Instagram, and it was like, he was like, oh, that would be great because I don't have time for this at all. And so we had kind of like worked something out. That's how we got our 21-inch scroll saws. We kind of just like worked for them. And then it just stuck, I guess. And so it really worked out. It honestly just kind of was just like something I had offered to do. And I liked it, I like doing the advertisements and the social side of things. And that's one of the things that I told him. I'm like, well, you really have to like the social media side.
You do.
In order to really be committed. Yep. And like one of my biggest things was quality too. Just, like making sure everything like looks good and has like a style to it and everything. So
is that part-time gig for you then, I would assume, that you're doing?
Yeah. So it's usually I commit like a few hours a day to it, give or take, kind of depends on what's going on. Some days, could be nothing. Some days it's a lot of stuff going on. So, I'm you of all people understand.
Oh yeah. Like some days people are tagging you and it's like effortless to do the Instagram.
Yes.
And other days you have to like search the hashtag. You're like, okay, I really need to put stuff on here. Like, let me go dive into this hashtag.
Talking about that yesterday. I was diving. I was doing that. I was like really searching because, well, I could post scroll saw stuff every day forever, but they sell so many different things, and I'm like, I gotta find some other stuff because I love to share about the scroll stuff too, because I also love the scroll stuff. But I'm like, we're gonna lose everybody else if I keep posting the scroll stuff every day.
Yeah, you got to mix it up. I totally get that. Like, I know for me, I would try to vary it. Like when I had to dig for hashtags lately, people have been posting. So thank you, people, and they've been tagging.
Yeah,
so
you guys have
friends.
A huge following.
Well, one of our posts that I was doing went viral when I was at Maker Camp last year, and we went from 65,000 to like 175,000, all on that one weekend. I was just sitting there like, whoa,
stuck. Like, I need that to happen. I'm like, man, Sabretooth is killing it.
I was posting. I'm taking a little bit of break this month because I kind of put too many hours in August because of the contest.
I'm sure you were probably crazy busy.
I'm only supposed to do like an hour to an hour and a half a day for Sabretooth. That's it. Like, that's all I'm supposed to dedicate. I was like 6 hours, 7 hours a day of doing Sabretooth stuff. So I told her this month, I'm like, I just want to let you know that I'm going to be on the Instagram and I'm going to share stuff every day, but it's not going to be what I promised you. Cause I commit, like, I don't know how your stuff works, but I don't mind sharing that. I do 2 posts a day and then I do 10 stories a day. And that's like the minimum that I promise. If I want to go more, that's on me. But that's the minimum.
A lot. I didn't realize you post twice a day.
Yeah.
I actually was going to ask you how you decide to like budget your time and stuff like that, because I only do 1 post a day.
Yeah, no, I have to do 2. That's what's in my contract. It's exhausting. Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah. It is really exhausting. Even sometimes 1 post a day for me. I'm like, on the days that I can't find anything to post, it's hard.
I am very big on encouraging people to make us a collaborator. So if you are listening and you are carving, please make us a collaborator.
Does that count as one of your posts? So
sure
if you
does.
Do like a collab, will that count as a post?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Because we're working with them, like we're asking them to post them, so I don't want to put like 10 posts in one day because people will hate our account. So if I had 3 people do a repost that day or like a collab, me hit and accept on those and then sharing it to stories, that's a post. Because when I'm reposting, it really doesn't take much more time than that effort, except for if you can't find anything, then it's a real pain. You're like, shoot, I've used all these. I'm like, oh no.
Yes.
And I struggled
like digging through old pictures and stuff that I've taken. And
the first year doing their account, it was so hard to find stuff. People had kind of given up on tagging them because the account went dormant for 4 months. Almost 6 months, I think. So people had stopped tagging them. So I was posting things from like 2 years ago. And like, I was just like, let's go. And then I kept saying like, make sure you repost. And then I asked Sabretooth, do you mind if I put my face on the account and I talk in the stories? And then I started doing that and encouraging people to tag us. And it started really picking up. So like that helped a lot too, is like personalizing the person behind the account, because I was already making carving videos for them as Sabretooth. So it just kind of led into that. It is hard though. Like, I'm only wearing this shirt right now because I did videos earlier and I forgot to change out. But like, I have to make sure I put this shirt on whenever I'm doing anything for Sabretooth. Like, that is in my contract. I have to be wearing this shirt, so it's like little things. I switch my shirt 3 times a day sometimes. Don't mind me.
Oh yeah, I will do that too. It's funny that you say this too, because just this morning I had posted a video on the new mullet dust arm, because Bearwoods is now selling the mullet stuff. And right after I posted it, I was like, why did I not make that a collab post with my page? Because that was my video. I haven't posted it yet. And I'm like, I'm not going to delete it and redo it now. But like, I was like, I don't know why I didn't do the collab post. But it didn't, I forget all the time. Like, I never even think about it. And then
I don't make mine as collab as much either, because like they want me to be Sabretooth too, for the most part. Like, I had to ask permission to be myself.
That Instagram like knows that I'm using two.
Oh, me too.
Like that, I feel like they bury them because they know that I'm like trying to use 2 accounts to promote the same thing, and they're like, we're not gonna let you do this. Are you crazy?
So I know we're like past our 1 hour point, but I did want to ask you, like, I know you're trying out we see and see that, trying to have like a little bit of money kind of in the background and stuff. What other things are you trying to do for the future that you really want to get into that you haven't dove into? Is there anything else that you've been eyeing?
Oh, good question. I don't know. Oh, I just got a little X tool
Oh, okay. The
laser.
little
I got their
portable
little
one?
D1. Yes, and that's actually they had contacted me and wanted me to promote their F or no, I got the F1. They wanted me to get the D1. And I
Is
was
that a
like, well,
fiber
I
one?
have no. Actually, I would really love a fiber
I
laser
figured
if
that's what
anybody
you would,
else is
yeah.
listening.
Seriously.
But so this is like their little like mini, and it is the portable one, so it's great for people who can like take it to markets and stuff. And that
Yep.
was their angle that they wanted, and they're like, well, it doesn't look like you really go to things. And I'm like, no, I don't really leave my house. That's a good point.
Good
And I was
observation.
yeah, and I was literally just like, well, if you want to just keep me in mind for the future, please do. I don't want to. I will turn away offers if it's something that like doesn't make sense for me to own, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the one laser that they wanted everybody's promoting right now. It's that like red. I think it's red, and it's like a little square.
The new Glow
And
Forge
it
mini
can like
one.
no, it's like the one that's like lower level, I think, than that. But like you
Oh,
can
okay.
engrave on it. I know it can cut like thin material, but like I have a CO2 laser. I don't need that. But this one can do like the metals, and it does like the images, like and it engraves really fast. And so
that's
I'm like,
cool.
I do think I would use this one because it can do different things that I can't do already. And I'm like, my followers are gonna know if I'm promoting something just for because
because you gave it
I'd
to
rather
me.
have
Like
something
you're not
that
even making money off of it because you gave it to me too. Like that's the big
right.
difference too. If they
Like,
want
I'm
to
not just
pay
gonna
you to
say
do a
yes to something I
campaign,
don't need, especially when I don't have room to put more things. I'm very much a collector. I will collect all the things and I'll shove them into a corner and never use them. So I'm not gonna say yes to things that I just don't need. So she ended up saying yes. She was like, okay, you could, you know what, let's give this a try. So I hope that the content and stuff goes over well, just because it's a fun little thing and it's not taking up a lot of space. And I can do some of the metals, which is what I wanted to be able to do basically, is just put some engraves on metal, some different materials that like I can't do safely with the laser I currently have. So
I do like the portable laser idea too for like big projects that you can't fit. Like I have a smaller laser.
Yes, that's what I said too. If I could
big,
put it, you can put it on like a big sign.
Yes.
Or something. Or a super long charcuterie board that wouldn't fit in my laser.
Exactly.
Like I could engrave like a name or something.
Yep. Throw your logo on the back of it or something like that.
Yeah, like I saw somebody put his logo on a chair.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I said too. Like you could engrave things like that. Or let's say I do leave the house one day, if I were to go to a market or something, be able to personalize something on the spot, it would be cool to do. But yeah, so other than that, gonna figure out the CNC. Hopefully I'm gonna bust out
you have a lot coming
Halloween stuff. Yeah.
Well, if you need help with that CNC, ask one of us. Like, don't struggle.
I will.
Don't struggle.
There's a lot of people who have them. So
yeah, that's why I said one of us, because there's so many of us now. Like, that's the nice part when you buy a machine that there's a community with, because there's a lot of resources. Like, if I don't know an answer, I can say, hey, I don't know that, but you know what? Coleman over there, he has that locked down. You want to know about
that's one of my regrets with my laser.
Well, mine too.
Like, why didn't
I don't have
get one of the machines that that's true. Like you do have a nice little laser, but you don't have a ton of people who have it.
There's nobody in this world that has it.
The Facebook group for the laser I do have is very small, and it actually has been very helpful. Despite that, like almost any problem I've had has been solved through their Facebook group. So that is nice. But I do wish that there was like a whole community of people with it, just because it would be easier.
The Thunder Crew, man, the Thunder Crew.
I know.
Can help each other. I do really appreciate you coming on today and chatting with me, because it's been a blast. Like just having some back and forth, because you and I don't get to talk that often because we're always so busy. So it was nice to just like sit down and chat,
Yeah, definitely.
I hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to help support it, you can use NIGHTCARVER at checkout for your Workench Con ticket. It'll save you $50 at checkout. And you can go ahead and shop my affiliates. Carhartt has some great winter gear to keep you warm when you're out in the shop, and I get a great kickback from that. So if you want to help me out, you're welcome to do that. You're welcome to grab a gift to support the show. All of that is in my bio. Thank you for listening, and have a great day. Oh, one more shameless plug. You can also shop my website to support the show and my family. Again, I really appreciate you all helping me work full-time. This has been such an amazing, almost 2 years now. It's a year and a half now, and I can't wait to see how it goes. Do I stay full-time? What happens? But only you can prevent forest fires. So go shop at Night Carver Designs and have a great day.